Hey
everyone.
What?
We have the left side just like totally into it, and B-Rad and Nick staring everyone else down.
Deer in the headlights. Yeah.
It says live. What? How's everybody doing?
Good.
Yeah, good.
Excellent.
A nice Saturday.
Yeah, everybody having a good Saturday, a good weekend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. How about you?
Oh, it's great. But I'm happy I'm here. Yeah. So introductions. I'll start. We can go around. My name is Todd. I like comic books, and my favorite comic book movie. Oh, I've been juggling it in my head because I wanted to spring this on y'all for an intro.
No, that's
and
not fair. That's not fair. I didn't think it. I put zero thought into
it. And my favorite comic book movie is
Hi, Sam.
Guardians of Batman 1989.
All right.
And we have a special guest today. First time on the show. B-Rad Gullickson. Comic book counseling. What?
Hello. Long-time listener, first-time caller. And my favorite comic book movie we can talk about later. I don't want to introduce myself with my terrible opinions immediately.
Okay. It'll get segued into.
We'll have that section off.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm Nick, and I have no idea what my favorite comic book is.
Just pick one.
No.
It is. It's gonna be. I'm gonna say it's.
Go ahead. You tell me what it is.
Daredevil.
No.
The director's cut, though.
Yeah. So it's okay.
Hey.
So it's
Okay. Okay. I'd be okay with that. It's one that probably most people would be like, boo.
I just think it's mediocre. Is the only. Its biggest flaw is it's mediocre.
You're talking Daredevil?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Okay.
It's got that banging soundtrack though of like
It's good.
the early 2000s best new metal bands.
Sure. I think
And
Spider-Man Raimi
the songs they
did
could phone it in.
soundtrack better though.
My favorite comic book movie is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
I mean,
That's the one.
solid
That's a good
choice.
call.
There you go.
That's
I'm
good
talking
call.
about soundtracks.
That's my favorite one. Yeah.
Boom.
oh yeah.
It's my
So
second
it's-
favorite.
Good night, everyone.
That's it.
That was my contribution. So my turn. Hi, I'm Jamie, and I do this and write reviews on the website foreveryonemedia.com. And my favorite comic movie we'll talk about later in the show. Like Brad, I don't want to give it away. You know, you make people stick around beyond the 4-minute mark for the good stuff. You know.
Okay, I think the good stuff is in the hearty conversation about the topic at hand, but or it can be about our favorite movies. Either one.
All about lists.
Yeah, I like
know.
rewarding
Yeah,
people.
If you can't put it in the list, you're not getting the clicks. So like, you know.
Sure. I was gonna go with this so like people could filter in and we have a lighthearted conversation. So let's go with a different topic. Not favorite comic book movie.
Least favorite.
What's the first comic book movie you ever saw?
Just remember.
Yeah, what's the first one that you remember watching? Mine, I remember. I'll start off since I'm answering. It's Batman 1989, which is why that will probably always be like my like actual favorite one. Will always be like up in the air and everything, but my nostalgic, the one that makes me like I love it every time and it makes me happy is Batman 1989 because that like blew my mind as a kid. So that was my first.
Okay.
I'll jump off that saying that I'm sure that was my first, but the one that I remember is Batman Forever.
Nice.
And I remember it specifically because there is a McDonald's less than a mile from my house, and the Riddler coffee mug was one of the first things that I ever bought with my own money. Like I had some money, and I like snuck down to McDonald's and bought it.
Coffee mug or the glass mugs?
The glass mug.
I have the whole set still, and I have my Batman one still up with my glasses because
I'm waiting for the day that I go to like an antique shop and they have one for $3.
I got a backup Batman so I can use it.
Yeah.
I wasn't using it for a while, but I got a second one, so I have one out to use.
I was about to say, is that what you bust out when you have company over and you got to impress?
Yeah, I got my
You
Green
bust out,
Lantern
right?
Pine class, and then I have that, and yeah. Yep.
I get you.
Yeah, we're living
I
large
get you.
here. Yeah, I got collectibles for glassware. What up?
I have the Riddler one just in the kitchen.
Because it's got the question mark for question
Yeah.
mark for the handle, right?
Yeah.
The cane
Two-
is the handle.
Yeah, Two-Face had the coins,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, Batman was just kind of like a.
I don't remember any of the other
And then
ones.
Robin. I think it was Batman.
I wanted the
Was it Batman? But Robin wasn't in it. But I feel like Robin was one.
No,
of
Robin was in it. Batman
Well,
Forever was
Robin's in
when
Forever,
Robin shows up in that one. Yeah.
But like, it's not Batman and Robin. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
the next one where it was a bigger thing.
I bought all those glasses too.
But yeah. Yep. Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Batman
Okay.
Forever. That's solid.
Yeah.
I love me some Batman Forever.
yeah. But I'm sure I saw Batman.
89.
Yeah, I'm sure I did.
I
Yeah.
can
I don't have
vividly
Memories of it.
remember seeing each and every one of those original 4 Batman movies in the theater.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I can put myself in the line
Oh,
of each of those movies.
Awesome.
But my first comic book movie had to have been Superman the movie, and I didn't see that in the theater. I'm not that old. I'm almost that old. But
I was like 78. I mean,
78.
that's yeah.
Yeah, 78. I'm almost that old.
But not to go to stand in line to go see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
No, caught it on TV and had a VHS recording off of TV that I watched all the time.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Amazing.
I think the first one I remember would probably be Batman Forever. So, like Nick, I think I do remember, though, talking about vivid memories, I do remember bugging my dad on the day he would visit me, like, because my parents were divorced at the time, and he'd have visitation once a month. I remember begging him to take me to Batman and Robin. So that was my first comic book, like, in theater experience.
Nice.
Was going to see that because I remember seeing it in like the newspaper advertisement and going, yeah, let's go. Awesome. And he's like, okay, like, here we go. And like ate that shit up.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That Forever was my first comic book movie in a theater. I definitely remember that because I was so psyched because I had seen my dad had the VHS for Batman '89, well worn. It's like I can picture it in my head. I'm so sad it doesn't exist anymore, but it has like the worn edges on it from just being like thrown around all the time and out and everything. I played that a bunch, and then Forever was the first movie theater one, and oh my god, I thought it was fantastic, and I still will defend it to this day. Jim Carrey's the best casting for Riddler. That's it. Sorry, new Riddler. You're great.
I think like the great thing about Batman and the Batman movies, especially as we've gotten several new ones and we're well beyond Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, is that the character is such a skeleton for any filmmaker to lay any kind of movie on top of.
Yeah.
And I think revisiting Batman Forever and Batman and Robin so many years later, I appreciate what Joel Schumacher was attempting with that movie. And I think there's a lot of fun to be had in both of them.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And it doesn't have to be, I think it gets a worse rap because Nolan's shaped so many people's opinion on what a good movie was that they look back on these and be like, well, this is everything Nolan's movies weren't. But that doesn't make them bad. That just makes them different. Yeah. And it's okay that Batman can be fun and different and campy. Like Batman has been campy, started campy, really, and then got serious.
And I feel like it also gets this bad rap of being like wrapped up in this idea of like they changed the Burton movies to be more marketable to toys and kids, and you see so many people get pissy about like, oh, they're just giving like, they're just trying to sell toys with all these Marvel movies. It's like, okay, but like, so it gets that sort of bad rap tied into it, and it's like, but okay, like, is that necessarily a bad?
What isn't advertising for other things?
All those
it's just how it is.
Batman movies are in conversation with what came before, right?
Mhm.
So Batman 89 was in conversation with Batman Year One and The Dark Knight Returns, which were in conversation with Batman 66. And so people watched 89 and they felt like it was this adult take on the character. And then Tim Burton doubles down on his aesthetic in Batman Returns, and people were like, "No, thank you." They were all wrong.
I love it. I
Batman
love
Returns
the
is the best
terms.
of the bunch, in my
It
opinion.
is. It is.
And then Batman Forever was in response to the negative reaction to Batman Returns, and it goes a little lighter, a little more toyetic. And then Joel Schumacher's like, "Oh, well, they like Batman Forever. Well, now I'm going to double down on my aesthetic and give you Batman and Robin." And people are like, "Hold up."
Well, they also rushed that one out too. Like
Yeah.
that was done so quickly that they just like, it was Joel Schumacher and WB that were just like, just put more out now, so we can sell more toys. And it's just like, okay,
When's that ever gone before?
They were like, we have George Clooney. Go, 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 go. Like, we can't go wrong.
George Clooney hasn't ever made a bad movie. Go, 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 go.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at this point. Just go.
Clooney, Thurman, Schwarzenegger. How can this movie be bad?
Yeah, it can't.
Yeah. Alicia Silverstone in like when she was popular.
Whatever.
I think Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy is awesome.
No,
it's a great pick.
She owns that role. I think it's because I'm wondering when we're going to get to see that. Are we ever going to get to see that again? Like, where's Ivy?
I'm sure we'll get an Ivy. I don't think we'll ever get a Poison Ivy quite like that one again.
Yeah.
No, for sure, because we probably won't get a Batman like that ever again. Or
there's been rumors that Margot Robbie's trying to do a Harley Poison movie, which would be yes.
Yep,
I don't
that's
know
just
who would be.
Are we going
Poison
to
Ivy,
fantasy
though?
cast? Let's cast Poison
okay.
Ivy.
Casting Poison Ivy. All right.
With the idea of being cast against Margot Robbie.
Yeah, that would because she's for sure Harley for at least another 6 to 8 years
until she's done with it. She can have it as long as she wants.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get like 60-year-old. I would be into it, like an older Harley Quinn.
Yeah. And just call it Harley, like Logan. You know, just call it Harley.
Yes.
You know,
old man Harley.
Old man Harley.
Old man in it.
Old man Harley would be amazing.
You know,
it just starts with her like smoking a cigarette.
She's on like a rocking chair, has a big stogie.
Yeah.
Trailer, of course, is Johnny Cash in it because you know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Pain's
her,
playing in the background. Her, yeah. Man, I'm trying to think of. I'm trying not to picture. Just try to go with a redhead because, like, it's what you want to do is get somebody who's famously a redhead, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
Yeah,
I love Charlize Theron in anything, and I kind of like that idea.
Yeah,
I could see that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Because the problem is I'm not good with the younger because now the chic thing is you got to get somebody who has 10 to 15 years because you never know if there'll be like a role that we need for the whole universe and all of that. Yeah. So it's just like Amy Adams. No, that's not gonna happen.
Well, she's already Lois, so.
Well, that's never. Chris Evans is the Human Torch Captain America, so
fair.
That's why you got to get on that TikTok, Todd, so you can get connected with the younger generation.
Oh yeah, that's my issue. That's what I want.
Then you'll have it all figured out.
Life complete. Who would I like? Charlize Theron is in my head now.
Yeah, I can't unthink that.
I'm pretty into that.
Because I think she could do a little bit of that Uma Thurman Poison Ivy thing in her interpretation.
It's
Like,
a jungle in
inject-
here.
Yeah. Inject
Yeah.
just enough camp
Mhm.
into the
Mhm.
performance to match what Margot Robbie does as Harley,
I'm
and
gonna
also be
say,
sinister as hell.
I'm gonna say Evan Rachel Wood.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's
I can
cool.
see that. Yeah.
That'd be my pick from Westworld.
Mhm.
I think she would do well, and I think she's young enough. I
The,
think she's
the
about there.
I just went to the internet because I'm out of ideas.
I did too.
Anya Taylor-Joy from The Queen's Gambit.
She's in everything now.
I don't care.
Yeah.
She can pull off the red hair,
Mm-hmm.
and she's excellent. I like that. Emma Stone. That's just me. That would be me just being like, okay, Emma Stone, you got it. I don't think you're right for the role, but here you go.
Yeah,
I love you.
yeah. You're not right for the role, but I want you to be right for the role.
Yep.
Kind of
Natalie
situation, yeah.
Dormer,
What's that?
Game of Thrones. Game of
I could
Thrones.
see, I could see Natalie Dormer in it. Yeah.
That's great. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Or Katie Cassidy, who played. She was in the Arrow. She was in Arrow.
Okay.
She was Black Canary in Arrow.
Okay.
She'd be a good fit too.
Yeah.
But you know how WB loves to grab their CW people and put them in the movies.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Kenneth.
Hey, Kenneth. Yeah.
So, while we transition into the main topic, I've got a fun fact. I have a series of fun facts. So, Batman, 1966 came out in 1966, followed by Barbarella in 1968. Those are the first two comic book movies. We've had a very big string of them since then. Who wants to take a guess what the longest gap in years was between comic book movies?
6 years.
A decade.
Yeah. Thinking 68 to 78 between that Barbarella and Superman.
That's what I was thinking.
Mm.
Ooh, Danger Diabolique.
I got nothing.
All right, and abstain. The longest gap was 4 years, and it happened twice.
Okay.
And the only reason why it was as short as it was because of one very raunchy X-rated movie that came from a comic strip called Fritz the Cat.
Or Crumb.
Yep. X-rated movie based off a comic strip by Robert Crumb. Fritz the Cat came out in 1972. Barbarella came out in 1968. And then 2 years later, The 9 Lives of Fritz the Cat came out in 1974, and Superman came out in 1978. Every other break was less than 4 years. And then the follow-up, what year do you think was the string of we never then didn't have one at least each year?
There was the year that was missed.
When was the last time a year was missed? What was the start of the string from then?
So 89. I'm saying 89.
Oh, I was going to say 89. I'll say 88.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess
Okay.
it's got to be right in there.
What about? Do we have one during the pandemic year when there just weren't any movies coming out?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, we had
there's probably one.
Like
there was
Bloodshot.
Okay.
One
Yeah.
of
All right. Never mind.
Bloodshot
Never
was
mind.
2020. And then 2021, I think Wonder Woman 1984 or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
And probably 30 others that we can't think of at the moment.
Yeah, my list only goes with legitimate comic book movies because there's some
Well, define legitimate.
rated ones, ones
Is
that are
Man-Thing on
IMDb.
there?
I don't have the list on me. I went off of IMDb.
I want to see this list.
I'll post it later.
Let me see the list.
Are you abstaining again, Jamie?
I'm going to say 89 as well.
Okay. Very close. It was 1986. Howard the Duck started the string. And since 1986, we have had a comic book movie every single year in one form or another.
What was
Thanks,
87?
Howard the Duck.
87 was actually, oh crap, what was it? I don't know. I went off a list and I saw like, I just looked at the years of all the things and kept moving
I'm
up.
terrible with dates.
And I found the game. Like, I didn't Google search like this question. I was like, here's a list of them all. I'm going to figure it out.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, so that's a long list. I know it's very popular now and it got denser later on. But since 1986, there's been at least
The
one.
Spirit.
The Spirit?
TV movie,
There you go.
TV movie.
The Spirit and also Little Shop of Horrors.
There we go.
Okay.
Was that based on a comic book?
I
It
guess.
was based on the
Comic strip?
Corman original film.
Oh, wait, no. I think there was a comic book adaptation of the movie.
Yeah, that don't count. That don't
I
count.
think it went
Those
the
don't
other
count.
way.
We went I didn't count those kind.
Yeah.
The other way around.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know. I closed my list down that I got this from. It was IMDb.
We believe you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So, the question at hand: comic book movies as cinema, is that possible, or are they just brain candy? Is this something that doesn't warrant, without a few exceptions? The Joker is the easiest answer to put on here. It was in the Oscar contention, all of that stuff. But as a genre, is it worthy of being considered film? What is there a distinction? Is this a conversation that is irrelevant?
Well, I have a few things just based on the sentence you just said.
Yeah, go for it.
But comic book movies, like comic books, aren't a genre, right? Like I don't see them as a genre, because would you put Blade 2 next to Old Boy, next to American Splendor, next to Ghost World? They're not going to be on the same shelf or the same category on Netflix or wherever you're streaming it.
It's a cool playlist, though.
I watch all of them. They're all great.
Great weekend there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, what is cinema? I'd like a proper definition of cinema. Isn't it just a series of frames cut together into a moving image? Yeah. So cinema, yes.
And that's why in my question I do put it as film, because
I'm attacking you
when you're talking. For sure. I encourage it. Because when you're talking about movies, there's the things that you go see and the things that are blockbusters, and then you have film, the things that win Oscars, and the things that you can dissect and get meaning out of. Is there meaning to be had in things that are supposed to be commercially successful and not meant to be art? Like, it's obviously art. We don't need to get that based of a discussion, because everything is art, everything's interpreted. But something that's not it's not designed to be like, I have this like thought and I want to get like a movement going. I don't want to like stir the hearts of people and make them live a different life. These are movies that are meant to make money. They're published and ran by huge corporations. If they didn't make money, this film wouldn't be happening. This isn't a heartfelt letter to humanity.
But all movies are profit endeavors. It's show business. Even the independent films need to make their profit and pay the people who got the movie made.
Definitely.
So like
to a point, yeah.
Sure, to a point, but and I know
they're not usually the ones that make the most money.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's why budgets are important, right?
Yeah.
That's why you have to do good financing. And they're not, not every movie's the most popular movie. And I know that comic book movies dominate the conversation, or I would say superhero movies dominate the conversation. But my feeling is, and everyone has their own opinion, but like all movies are valid. All types of stories are valid as stories, and saying that one is a film and the other is a movie, I find that just to be snooty.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think that's the point. Is that film is a higher class, and that people that belong to film or believe in film believe that they are better in some ways. I don't know that they're necessarily wrong, but there is an emotional and informational exchange difference between. I will refer to some movies as film and other movies as movies, just casually, but it's to convey something, right? Like a difference.
Yeah, there's something deeper there.
That being said, I think that superhero movies are absolutely film. So,
but by that logic, then is every super movie film, or are you saying that a super movie has the capability of?
I think it has the capability to be film. Yeah, and it depends on the person. I think there's for me at least, film elicits an emotional response that you connect with on a basis of just life in general, and that it's something that it's more than just robots fighting and or something like that. There has to be just that little bit of level to it, and I think a lot of Black Panther and plenty of movies can do that. Some people might not see that. That's okay.
Yeah.
But
so I mean, it almost like the distinction to me. It sounds like you're trying to make it like there are movies and superhero movies and movies in general that are just like, hey, let's have fun. Villain, good guy defeats villain. Boom, here we go. We're done. And then there's some that try to actually make a more emotional, social, political point where, like, Black Panther's it's a superhero movie with CGI effects, and Black Panther tackles a rhinoceros.
It's pretty cool.
But it also has a story about race relations and things like that. Whereas, like, you have a movie with, Batman and Robin, which we were talking about earlier, where it's just like Batman fights. I almost said fights Robin. That would have been wrong.
Let's go.
Fights the Riddler and Two-Face and tries to save the day. Like, and I can kind of see that point, but at the same time, it's also like, then you start getting this idea of people take meaning from movies. People take their own meaning. I don't emotionally connect with Batman and Robin in any way, but maybe someone else does. So
yeah, I think
someone could see the conflict of Two-Face and be like, oh, whoa, and that could be a big thing for them. But someone else could be like, oh, guy with acid on his face.
Yeah,
he's angry about that.
I think it's absolutely a subjective experience, and we all have like our own points of views on these things. And just because I'm saying one thing doesn't mean that I'm negating what Nick is saying. But like for me, I can watch Howard the Duck, and I do watch Howard the Duck on my Blu-ray over there.
On Blu-ray,
and my VHS copy, and my DVD.
Oh, jeez.
Because it's a film, and that's how the director meant it to be watched. He saw into the future and was like, Blu-ray.
Well, like I also think there's a conversation to have about like intention and where does intention on the filmmaker's part come into this conversation. But for me, it's all about the consumer, the person who is experiencing the movie. And I can watch Howard the Duck, and I can have an emotional experience with that stupid effect little puppet face. Like I do feel for Howard at multiple times during that movie, and I'm in awe of the stop motion in Howard the Duck, and I'm weirded out by the sexuality of Howard the Duck, and it makes me feel funny, but I have to reckon with that. And I think
does it make it a better film because
but it makes it a film. Makes it a film, and then it makes it an emotional experience for me. And on a value level, I can put that emotional experience of Howard the Duck, for me personally, higher than anything I experienced in the adaptation of Howard's End. So like I really do think it comes down to the viewer. And what I object to with the conversation around movies versus film is this sense of gatekeeping and elitism, where it feels like, Marvel Studios is making cotton candy for the masses, and that equals something less than a Lars von Trier movie or something, and I just I object to that on a very core and deep level, because my tears around the Winter Soldier are just as strong as the tears when I'm watching Citizen Kane, which is a great movie too.
That was pretty good. I should check it out.
Movie. Oh, he called it.
It's a movie. I do.
They're
Like
all movies. They're all films. They're all movies.
Movies is the worst word. It's just movies. It's like, oh, that's a movie. It moves.
Motion pictures.
Move. We're gonna get into that.
I'm gonna spend a nickel at the movies tonight.
Yeah. In my attempt to keep my devil's advocate alive, because I love all of this. So if it comes down to the consumer, and things that are elevated are usually considered film. Like when you see the Oscar list, I love to go through the Oscar list every year. I find it interesting. I don't always agree. I'm like, this isn't very good sometimes.
When was the last time a Best Picture was your favorite film?
And that is
of that year.
Exactly it. Is I will go through those lists, and I think it was like Parasite.
I was gonna say I haven't seen it yet, but I was gonna say Parasite.
I was like, this is like the thing. Good job.
I've got an older one.
Oh yeah, what's yours?
Gladiator.
Oh,
Gladiator was the last time I saw a Best Picture winner. I was like, I agree.
Yeah, Gladiator was that was a whole, when that hit, that was I think people forget how big of a movie that was when that was around. That influenced movies for so long afterwards. The Gladiator effect was real, and oh my goodness, there's a reason, because Gladiator was fantastic.
I don't like it.
Oh, great. See, and that's okay.
Fair.
I don't like it anymore. I've rewatched it in the last few years, and it did not age well. I don't like it as much as I remember watching it back then.
I haven't seen it in a few years, and it's one of those movies like I loved at the time, but I don't want to revisit. Like there's just nothing about it that makes me want to go, you know what, I'll watch that again. Now the soundtrack, if I need to get shit done in a day, I will blast the soundtrack.
Hell yeah.
But I don't need to spend another, like the movie's like what, 2.5 hours? Like I'm good. Like I'm good for that. Yeah.
So then does the definition of what like best movie need to change? One, we can't change that because it's all marketing and money's involved and all of those things. If it wasn't the Oscars, but it was Best Picture, does it matter if it gets them in the most emotional response? Because the best film most likely each year won't be seen by most people.
No.
The thing that we probably all could identify with, Parasite did really well because it was a really great film that then people really also actually loved. Where usually it's something obscure, a lot of money was pushed to it, and it was good. It was good enough to be like, oh, this is serious, or it's like got an interesting story behind it. Should comic book movies, superhero movies, the things that the most people get at least even the slightest emotional reaction to, be best film then each year, because it's the thing that's seen the most and it's the thing that most people consume? Does that make it best?
I like the idea of recognition. I feel like if, especially in this culture, in this world, that if you make billions and millions of dollars off of a movie, that you have to have done at least something appealing in some way, right? Like because that's usually not a lot of people going once. It's a larger group of people going multiple times. And there's something to be said about people enjoying the story that you have made to that extent, and there probably should be recognition of that in some way. It's kind of crazy that someone can make a story and put it out and make millions and millions of dollars, and it's just kind of like, that's popcorn stuff, like, and just dismissed as as just that. But whether that makes it best or not,
I mean, I think it comes down to like how much value we give to awards bodies. You know, I think we give too much value to the Academy Awards. It's a tiny group of people selecting films in their industry, and they're going to have a different perspective on it than we do. You know, for my own personal like lists that I seek out, I find the critics and the enthusiasts and the curators that speak the most to me. And when I find that person, like Jacob Aller at Paste Magazine, and he says, you got to watch this movie. I don't know, Jacob likes that film. I got to go check out that movie. I find the people that align with me. And then what do? I love ranking things. And then I'll tell you what the real answers are of the best movies of the year, according to Brad. And that's the right answer.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
And that's why I've recently gotten kind of like, so when Rotten Tomatoes came around, it was all about like, oh, what's the aggregate score? Cool, that's a good movie. I'll go see that now. But like over the past few years, it really feels like that Rotten Tomatoes, at least to me, has become nothing more than a meme generator. Like it's nothing more than a cannon fodder, discussion fodder thing where it's like, oh, you know, it gets a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. Well, I love it. So why am I paying attention to this and really no longer looking at what the masses rate a thing and what the algorithm says the masses rated a thing and going like, okay, well, the people I respect, what do they think of it? Do I go out, like, let me listen to them a little bit, but then like, let me make my own decision. Like the Eternals, people like just jump on the Eternals hate bandwagon. Like, Marvel made a bad movie because it's under 50%. I like it.
I do too.
Like, I now understand to an extent the Batman v Superman people who are like, Rotten Tomato, like, you guys just don't get it. I'm like, I understand your point now, minus the whole Snyderverse, Snyderbro level of it, but like, so looking at the aggregate, what does everyone think of it? I'm kind of past now. It's more like, as Brad mentioned, find the people who you like their opinion and, go off them,
Yeah.
And like Rotten Tomatoes, what does 70% means? It means 70% of the critics that we approve have liked that movie to one degree or another. I give this movie 2.5 stars, mild thumbs up. That's a positive review. So like a movie could have 90%, and it's 90% of people going like, it's
meh.
it's good.
Yeah.
Because 2.5 is not great.
No,
Like
2.5 is the middle if it's a 5-star.
Yeah, if it's a 5, 50% is a failing grade.
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch, if a movie is a 2.5 to me, I'm okay that I watched it. I'm not watching it again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Unless something culturally relevant pops up, then I'll be like, fine.
I'll rewatch
Or if
it.
Nick's like, you gotta rewatch it. And I'm like, I probably will after like the 12th time. Amazing.
It's good.
So,
You'll like it.
Personal opinions. So, okay, what I've gotten from all of this is everything's bullshit, and you shouldn't listen to anyone, which is great. I love that. That's my fault.
Love what you love.
Except for us.
Love what you love.
Except
Live
for
your
us.
truth.
Yep, and know your people. It's basically we just did life advice.
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy and find your circle of people that you will listen to and get back. Great. So I'm going to go back to a little bit of trivia. Does anybody want to, outside of, these are not the random studios that got like a weird 90s superhero movie. I'm not counting those. Does anybody want to guess? I've got the bottom 3 worst rated comic book / comic book related movies on IMDb. Does anybody want to give a stab on one or all 3?
Is Daredevil one of them?
No.
Oh,
Frank
okay.
Miller's The Spirit.
Okay.
So IMDb, right?
Electra.
Electra.
2. I think it was 2.2, 2.3, and 2.1.
But they're not obscure. either?
Are
Are they
two
big
of them
two?
aren't. No,
Okay.
not
Wait, say that.
necessarily.
What was that again?
They're
Not
not
necessarily
necessarily
big
big two. One of them is
Okay.
ish.
Okay. Ish.
Because the bottom in MCU, the bottom two are Daredevil and because we had this conversation on another when we did the trivia. Are you smarter than a burrito? The bottom MCU movies were like Daredevil and something else. Or no, Catwoman and Daredevil. It wasn't MCU. It was
Catwoman would
just
be
the big
another
two.
good guess.
Catwoman and Daredevil were.
Yeah.
I have the same exact everything.
Catwoman's way worse than Daredevil.
I agree. 100%. But it had the same tomato. It had the same IMDb rating. It had the same tomato critic and tomato audience. How crazy that both of those had all three of those metrics identical.
Because they have one person who is online going like,
I shall make it match Daredevil. All right. Any last minute guesses?
Is Catwoman one of them?
No.
Okay. I'm trying to think of all of them that aren't big too.
Is it? Oh, Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin.
That's higher up. That's better than Daredevil, rated higher than Daredevil and Catwoman. I do too. Yeah. I think that's right. I think it's still too low for what it is. So coming in at number 3, the third to last, is Steel, Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh wow!
From 1997, loosely based Steel, and it's a real loose. It's like it's kind of there. It's a stretch.
Okay.
Coming in at number 2 is actually a manga book, but I consider that comics. I don't know why. It's just a genre of comics that happen to read the other way. Dragon Ball Evolution, 2009.
Okay.
Watched it on a plane.
Oh,
how was this for a plane trip?
That's the place to watch.
I had a good time with it.
There you go. I wish that's how I watched it. I was like, what are all these white people doing here? What is happening?
That's how I watched the first season of Arrow.
Oh man,
Was a plane from South Korea to Germany.
See,
Arrow,
the first season of Arrow was
right.
great. I really liked the first season of Arrow. Even the second season of Arrow. That's a whole nother conversation. That's comic book TV, which it was basically the CW plus like the Lois and Clark adventures.
No. Is there a difference between TV and cinema? Let's discuss.
No. There we go. There's the next topic. No, it's just long form versus short form.
There you go.
And sometimes you have to watch you're watching the previews in the middle of the show instead of at the very beginning. And coming in at number 1, Son of the Mask, 2005. And
oh, wow.
That's the worst rated comic book movie.
I saw it in the theater, kind of liked it.
There you go. 2005. I like that one's from 97 and 2 are from 2005, 2009. That's pretty great.
So, I mean, Brad keeps saying he likes these things. So, like, what's your least, like, what would you put personally at your bottom list comic book movie?
That's one of my questions. So perfect. Thank you, Jamie.
Damn it. Sorry.
No, you're good. That's great.
I love it. Comic book movie.
Least favorite comic book movie.
I should have really researched that. I'm sure there's an answer where I'm like, that's the one.
Mine's Dragon Ball Evolution.
I mean,
this almost got it right.
Like, I'm the worst person to ask these questions because it takes a really rare and special film to make me mad that I watched it. And then suddenly I'm like, well, this got me so hot and bothered. I guess I also am glad I watched it because it's such a rare treat for me to be this fuming. Amazing.
Yeah.
I should go to my letterbox at Mouthwork. Follow me at Mouthwork on letterbox.
It's in the description too. You can find the link there.
The worst one.
I might have one.
I'm going to explain why Dragon Ball Evolution is the worst one, and then you guys can explain the wrong opinion.
Come back to me. I'm gonna check my letterbox.
Dragon Ball Evolution is the farthest thing from Dragon Ball that could possibly exist. It's a bunch of white people not doing Dragon Ball. The screenwriter, they started filming. The script was not done yet. And going back now that it's out and done, the screenwriter has said, yeah, it was really bad, and I did a really bad job on it. It is, you can't even, it's one of those rare movies where you don't even have to feel bad that you might be like attacking somebody who like really loved it and like, oh man, I feel bad almost saying something. No, he knows it's a pile of shit. It is a pile of shit. It's an abomination to something that I was so excited for when I first heard about it. And then when I heard the guy who played Spike in Buffy was going to be Piccolo, that's when I was like, this is going to be garbage. And it was.
You bring up an excellent point, because sometimes it's not even about how bad the movie is. And Dragon Ball Evolution, just as a movie, apart from Dragon Ball, is terrible. But it's the combination of it being a bad movie and being an adaptation that so fails its source material that it hurts you as a fan of the original. And I understand that. I understand that totally.
Well, perfect segue. I will say Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern.
Oh, okay. I had to grab a beer. I think this is my time to go.
I thought that
Todd is so.
I thought that Todd was just gonna straight boot me. So the fact that I'm still here, and he left is good for me. But in my defense, when I first saw Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern, I knew absolutely nothing about Green Lantern. And after seeing the movie, I went, I kind of like this idea and this thing, and I enjoyed the movie. If it's wrong or not comic accurate, then okay. But when I saw it, at least, and I've seen it more than once, and I haven't enjoyed it more than once.
Taika Waititi is in Green Lantern.
Yeah,
really.
He is the sidekick of Ryan Reynolds in that film.
Okay.
Worth revisiting those scenes.
All right.
I looked at Letterboxd. Now, do we
in case you don't know, Brad, I'm a really big Green Lantern fan.
And
that wouldn't hurt.
So it hurt you. Okay.
I knew it wouldn't hurt. That's why I was between two, and
that one hurt.
Yeah. Okay.
That was our shot. That was our shot, man. We had it.
Did a Green Lantern movie.
Ryan
Reynolds for it. It's like, let's go. That's pretty cool.
You'll be fine. You're gonna get a great Green Lantern film in the future, and you'll be able to revisit Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Not so bad.
Well, I need the show. Give me the show. I just need a palate cleanser. It's been so long.
So Todd, when they do another Green Lantern movie, which Green Lantern do you want?
Kyle.
I mean, Kyle Rayner, but honestly now, Joe. Go the other way. What's the opposite of Hal? Give me Joe. Give me the bisexual black woman to completely palate cleanse this god-awful Hal Jordan mess.
I think you'll get John before Joe.
But Jon Stewart's going to be
you'll get John.
And Kyle Rayner would be my dream. Or Alan Scott. Like if you give me some Alan Scott, I'll be like, thank you. Which the show is supposed to be doing, which I'm excited about.
See, I would love Joe just for the DCU memes of people just like, I hate this because it's a black woman. It's like yes, delicious.
I shall feed on your anger. Thank you.
I want all the lanterns, but I definitely want Guy Gardner at some point, so Batman can punch him in the face.
Oh, I was just about to jokingly take you off of the show. You said Guy, because I'm like, nope, can't have that. Yes. Please, if all Guy's there for is to get punched, I
want a whole arc for that guy. Yes. I wanted to build to a sequel where he gets punched in the face.
Is that where the film ends? It's just like bam, and he just
and then the next one picks up immediately in mid punch.
So you're wondering how I got here, and it's Guy Gardner holding his nose.
I checked my Letterboxd.
Superman punch in the face. Is whoa.
Yeah. And I have a question about comic book movies. What about sequels to films that were comic book adaptations, but not associated with any actual adaptation? So, like, one of my least favorite movies of recent years, the lowest rated comic book movie that I have on Letterboxd is Men in Black International.
Oh,
Okay.
that
And
was so sad.
yeah, it's such a bummer of a movie. I just found it such a dull experience that I just could not engage with it at all. So I gave it 1 star. I don't give many 1 stars, but I gave it 1 star.
Worthy.
But is that a comic book movie?
I would consider it because that's what they're. If you're going to say it's Men in Black, you're putting out expectations that it's somehow tied to the thing you're saying it's tied to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say yes, and that is a really good answer.
What's the
it's
next
like,
one, though? If we were like no, then what? I'm interested. With
So I've only been on Letterboxd since 2015,
Okay.
2016.
So Batman versus Superman can be in there.
Yeah, it's not though. I love that movie.
Really good.
We need to talk about that.
Martha's a great plot point, right?
Yeah, we do not have the space for me to dissect.
No, we just leave it at that.
Why I
it's
love
great.
that film.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's great.
Okay, good.
That's
Okay.
it. Move right on.
And
Damn you, Nick.
No, it'll that.
my 2-star rating is the next lowest rating, and it's for a recent film, and it was Morbius.
Oh, I haven't seen Morbius yet.
I didn't watch
I haven't
it
either.
because
I haven't either.
It's
I
not
heard
the
it wasn't
worst.
worth it.
It's not.
You gave
What?
it 2 you gave it 2
It's not
stars.
the
Men in
worst,
Black
but-
International's the worst. This is the second to
But-
worst.
Yeah.
But-
Second worst. Yeah.
But it is the second worst.
Matt Smith's performance in Morbius
No.
does bring
no.
some delight.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'll
That's
watch
why
when
I
it's on
wanted it to be
streaming.
good
Oh, that's
because of
great.
Matt Smith. That was
He
the
has a
only reason I
dance
wanted that movie to be
number.
good.
He's the 2 stars.
Yeah,
He
he's
is
the 2
one of the
stars.
stars.
One of
There's
the
a
The other
A
star
dance
is
nipple.
it's the
Yeah.
bottom floor.
he like bobs his head to camera and looks like down the barrel of the lens, and it's beautiful. I loved it.
I love Matt Smith.
Way to go, Matt Smith. You made Morbius better than Men in Black International.
I think I'm just going to go to YouTube and just watch a compilation of his scenes because by now someone's done it, and I'll just do that.
All I know is it's Morbin time or whatever.
I have it on my library poll, so I think there's like 58 people in front of me that want to watch Morbius, and will
Whenever
probably
it's on
take
streaming.
they'll probably take a year or 2 to return.
It'll be on a streaming service before then.
yeah,
Yeah.
but just
Yeah.
in case.
Yeah.
Can we just take a moment to celebrate the fact that Morbius gave us its Morbin time, which is obviously a reference to its clobbering time, which is a celebration that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby could just never have imagined in 1960.
Yeah.
Wow, the legacy.
The legacy.
Excelsior. Jamie.
So like I was going through the list of like IMDb to just remind myself of all of the ones that I've seen, and every single one I was like, that could be it. But also there was this one part of like I thought X-Men Origins Wolverine. I was like,
Oh,
maybe that. but
Ryan
the Gambit
Reynolds!
fight, I liked the Gambit fight. I was
yeah.
like, maybe X-Men Last Stand, like X-Men 3, and I was like, okay, but there's some good moments there.
There's that one time when he's got to stab the Phoenix. That's I think my only.
Oh yeah.
I liked that moment was Wolverine getting like, and then like you see the
Or, like-
adamantium, and it's like, but why is his whole fist adamantium? Whatever, doesn't matter. Stabby.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Revenge of the Ooze.
Ooze.
I was like, okay, that one's
Yeah.
pretty bad, but like young me loved it, so shut up. You know.
I was like,
Best.
we have to throw down because I love me some TMNT too.
so like
so
it's
good.
just it was like, and then
The ooze returned.
like Tank Girl was also on the list. I was like, but
Oh.
I saw that just hanging out with my friends, and I didn't hate it.
I know. I love Tank Girl. That's like a cult classic right there.
Yeah, so like X-Men Origins Wolverine just sort of like wins by default.
Nice. No, that's a
But
solid
even
choice.
then, I'm still like, I liked the Gambit bit. I wish there would have been more, but like,
that means they spent like millions of dollars to make one scene that you are okay with.
yeah. But the Deadpool thing is just like,
Oh, that hurts
Ugh.
so bad.
it's just,
Ryan Reynolds almost ruined 2 superheroes. Thank God he went back and fixed Deadpool.
yeah.
Those are all really good. You guys have great choices for terrible things. So where is it? Nope, I don't have it. I have to look in my other notes. You kind of put it in there that Howard the Duck is your favorite comic book movie?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You spoke very highly.
I love Howard the Duck.
Oh, okay. So let's go from these. Let's palate cleanse this terribleness to go back to what's the favorite.
So I'm a firm believer that a movie is good, but it also depends on your experience while watching the film. So context is king. And what you bring into that theater and where you were in that emotional state at that point can affect why you love or hate something as much as you do in that moment. And my favorite comic book movie, I would love to pick something obscure. I would love to pick something a little nerdier, a little more filmic.
The Joker.
Yeah, no, guess what though? I like that movie.
It was really good.
It won like an Oscar.
Yeah,
It's really good.
Two of them.
But in 2005, I attended the Wizard World Philadelphia Comic Con, and I went to the DC Comics panel. And as you were walking into the big DC Comics panel on that Saturday or Friday, I can't even remember, they were handing out wristbands. And some people got a gold wristband and some people got a blue wristband. And I got a blue wristband. And so we watched the panel. People asked their questions. It's Jim Lee's up there and Dan DiDio and all those folks. And at the end, they're like, everyone with a gold wristband, raise your hand. And everyone in the gold wristband raises their hands. You're all getting a gift bag filled with DC Comics. And everyone's like, yeah. But I look around and go like, there's a lot more gold wristbands than blue wristbands.
Oh, they're smart.
What's the blue wristband? Everyone with your blue wristband, raise your hand. Yeah, raise your hand. All right. You're leaving through those doors and getting on those buses and you're going to the IMAX and you're watching Batman Begins 2 weeks before anybody else.
What?
And all these DC nerds file into these buses and we bus to the Philadelphia IMAX and we watch Batman Begins, and I've never been happier in my life.
That's incredible.
And
it's a really good movie.
It's a really good movie, and I think
really good movie.
Before that film, Batman's entire origin had not been adapted in one singular narrative. And I think the way that Christopher Nolan did that, and he tied it in with the theme of fear and how fear is really responsible for the death of his parents because he was scared during the opera. He went out in a crime alley and he killed his parents with his fear. And then Scarecrow's got his fear. Ra's al Ghul's his fear. He turns his fear into his mask and into his weapon. I just love it. And we get to the end of that movie.
It's a great film.
It's a great movie. And he turns, and Commissioner Gordon turns over that Joker card. And when that Joker card got turned over in that IMAX sold out screen, it was like an earthquake.
Yeah.
The place exploded. It literally exploded. It's not there anymore. It went to rubble. And then we all had to file back into these buses. And I sat
Move
next
on
to
with
Dan
your life.
DiDio.
The talking.
And Dan DiDio and all these DC nerds are all just freaking out over how amazing Batman Begins was.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen a better movie.
Amazing. That's great.
That's great. That's fantastic.
That would do it. Like it's to a much smaller degree than that, but I will defend Dark Knight Rises more because of my viewing experience. I chose a random IMAX viewing to go see it. I show up sitting nice high middle, so I'm in the right spot. And then this attendant comes out and goes, sorry, there won't be any previews tonight because this is a 85 millimeter showing of Dark Knight Rises. And the reels take up the whole thing. So there's no previews. We're going to go right into the movie. and there it is.
Nice.
And it was one of the best movie experiences I've ever had. And Dark Knight Rises will always be just a little bit higher because so when people dog shit on it, I'm like, but I felt it looked so pretty, and it was like you could see the film grain because it was actual film grain, and they didn't put some stupid CGI film grain on top of it. It was because it was shot on film, and I saw it in film the way Nolan wanted me to see it, and the sound was incredible, and I felt Bane's voice in my chest, and it was this whole thing. I love Dark Knight Rises because of all of that.
Yeah,
but if people don't like it, that's fine.
So if we're talking about movie-going experiences, I think my favorite was with comic book movies was I was living in Korea at the time the Avengers came out. And the way movie releases work is Korea gets MCU movies 2 weeks before or a week before the US does. So like I was Facebooking my friends, I'm going to go see the Avengers. And they're like, what? No, you can't. I'm like, Korea, bitches. But we also, my friends and I went to a 4D showing, and it's one of those where the seats move. Okay. They have air that will blow in. They'll have water that will spritz you. They'll shift. You'll they have their massage chairs. So depending on the thing that's happening, you'll feel it in your butt. Like so when the scene where Coulson gets stabbed in the back, there was a little thing in the chair that hits you in the back right there. You're just like, oh fuck! Like what the shit? But like the scenes where they're flying around New York, like that one shot where they're flying around New York during the Battle of New York, and your chair's moving as you're flying around. Best experience ever, and it was also a really good movie.
Yeah,
like it was really good. And I was just like, came away to go, what the fuck? That was amazing. And like to this day, I still love watching the Avengers just because it brings back those memories.
Yeah.
You remember getting hit in the back when Coulson that's great. Yeah. I love it. I've only done D-Box once, and it wasn't for that cool of a movie.
We did that in Disney World, and it was like a Bug's Life or something, and the bee stung you.
Yeah,
it was the same thing, but it was.
You all look like little ants from up here.
We saw Amazing Spider-Man in the same way, and so like the web swinging through,
and you're gliding through.
Yeah,
that
was always really fun.
Amazing Spider-Man would be my other picks for worst movie that I love.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I was like, I love Andrew Garfield.
That's like my movie that I think that's my comic book movie. I think that gets shit on the most. That it's like
people are feeling people love Spider-Man so much, and it shows by how much they fucking care. Because I like Amazing Spider-Man. I prefer Raimi's because that was like vindicated. I'm selfish. I am wrong. I'm right. You know I'm right. I swear I knew it all along. That was like my angsty teen times. That will always be like my favorite Spider-Man. But I loved Garfield, and I loved those movies. They were fun.
Yeah.
I saw the original Spider-Man 11 times in the theater.
Let's go. Amazing. I saw it once, like an idiot.
I had a $3 theater across from my college campus, and I would go to class, I'd go see Spider-Man, I'd go to class, I'd go see Spider-Man.
Amazing. That's awesome.
I would do that if there was a $3 movie theater as well.
If I had that close of, because we have that one, but it's like a drive, and I'm like, I'd rather spend more and have a convenient trip.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite comic book movie / comic book movie experience, Nick?
I mean, my favorite sequence, or my favorite, I think for me, my favorite theatrical experience of a comic book movie was, funny enough, was it Far From Home with the drone fight? Was, I mean, that for me, that scene, I was sitting in the chair, my jaw was on the ground, and it was just like like that was by far the best moment. Although one of my favorite it would be also, I think the most recent would be the Batman movie, the most recent The Batman, just because it got done in like opening night. And so much recently there's been Marvel movies and things. It's a bunch of of people clapping and cheering at the end of movies and stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah. But like the Batman got done, and everyone just kind of sat there like,
oh shit.
whoa, like, and then like we all kind of filtered out and just kind of like went home. And it was just like everyone was just processing, and feeling that brain process of everyone just trying to just figure out what they just saw was really cool. It was like we got halfway home and with my wife, and it was just like, so that was like still couldn't like put into words and stuff what had happened. So I think that might be mine. Maybe it's just because it's the most recent too, but
the movie's amazing.
It's a great movie. It's an amazing movie. Yeah.
Now we've all mentioned superhero comic book movies as our favorite experiences, favorite movies. What's your favorite non-superhero comic book movie, if you have one?
Whoa. Pulp Fiction. Gun to my head, it's what I'm going to choose. I've seen it the most. I watch it every 6 months. It's a movie that's important to my life and to like how I look at movies and what
it is the greatest film of all time.
And
but Pulp Fiction. That was your interest in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I'm still saying like a comic book movie
that's
not a superhero movie. So
it's
still an adaptation of a comic book. Pulp Fiction also
300. I love that movie. It's another this is another, it's tied to what happened around it. I watched 300 maybe 3 times in the movie theater. The second time I went with different people each time. The second time I went with a very high testosterone group of men. We watched it, and afterwards we were pumped because I'm looking, I think senior year of high school, hormones going crazy. We just watched like 300 and we're all just fucking amped. We went to a friend's basement and basically beat the shit out of everyone. We had airsoft guns. We had Christmas plastic candy canes. We were like hitting. We were going insane because we just had the craziest roughhousing after that imaginable. It was probably from the outside very homoerotic, but really we were just fucking going crazy. It was intense, and I've never had a movie like thinking back on that, I get amped up thinking about that because that movie viscerally affected 8 of us all at the same time, whether it be for good or bad. It affected us, and I had like 3 hours after the movie, I was having an experience because of that movie. So yeah, it'd be 300. If I have to choose non-superhero, that's the one. And it's because of that.
Okay. I have to pick, I think Kingsman.
Ooh,
or
nice.
Kingsman, but I haven't seen it in a while. So I would say Kingsman or Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say Scott Pilgrim.
That's a really good call.
Still say Scott Pilgrim.
I'm going to say both then. Scott Pilgrim and Kingsman.
No, you pick the other one. I'm going to say Scott Pilgrim.
Kingsman's a good one to get stuck with.
Oh, no, that's terrible. Kingsman.
That Freebird sequence. Whoa.
Whoa.
I could probably think of another one too. Let's see.
Oh, Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, I didn't beat the shit out of anybody after Scott Pilgrim, so it's not up there. But Scott Pilgrim's definitely rewatched way more times. That's a yearly watch.
If Lisa was here, that would be her favorite comic book movie.
Just overall. Yeah. That's cool.
Because that's the thing, you have to talk about movies that are like comic movies that are like really good, and then there's ones that you can rewatch over and over and over again. Like, I recognize The Joker. Great movie. Great comic book movie. Never going to watch it again.
Nope, that's it. No, I'm good.
I saw it. I understood it. I'm good.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Meanwhile, like, I can put on Scott Pilgrim vs. World anytime while I'm working, if I just need something in the background. Same with like one of my favorite go-tos to watch when I'm working is like Doctor Strange. Like, I can put Doctor Strange on my iPad while I'm working, have a good time with it. But yeah,
I think of Scott Pilgrim a lot when I pee. Because I just picture the gauge going down. And it just makes me smile all the time because I'm like, I wish that happened in real life. Because that
This might be borderline. So I could see where you would, if someone was like, no, that's a superhero movie, then I'd be like, okay, fine. But I would also, aside from Scott Pilgrim, I would pick the trilogy of Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. Is one of my absolute favorite things. And my wife still has not. She's seen Unbreakable, but she has not seen
the other
Split.
ones?
So she doesn't know they're tied together either. And I'm still trying to figure out how to like, oh, we should like just watch Unbreakable and like, oh yeah, let's watch Split and okay, let's like trying to just figure that out yet. But
Split, watching Split in the theater, talk about a great experience.
Yep.
When that ending came and you heard that music, you're like, hold on, what's happening? Huh?
Oh, yeah, that was a twist.
moment.
Like I was ready for it to be like, oh, we're out of twist, right? It's over. We're done. And then it's like, oh no, here's the biggest twist. Fuck you.
It's like, oh, so good.
I haven't seen any of them.
Oh,
I have to confess, I haven't seen any of them.
well, they're connected, and that's all I'll say. And I apologize.
I don't think that's a spoiler.
I know.
No, I wouldn't say it's
I'm
it's
on
a
the
spoiler
internet,
necessarily, but they are. You should check them out.
It's yeah.
Unless you like, I do know some people that hate M. Night movies, and stuff like that. I'm not one of them. Are there? I just finished Old the other night. Like I watched 3/4 of Old and then made it like 2 months and went, oh shit, I never finished this, and finished it and went, oh my god. Like,
did you watch The Happening?
Yes, that's one of my favorite ones.
All right, well, we agreed to
Rock
disagree.
on.
That's fine.
Love it.
It's one of my favorite ones.
All right.
The only one that people typically don't like, that it's like, okay, is The Village. That's like,
I like The Village.
It's fine. It's fine.
I put The Village at the top of his movie.
Do you?
Oh,
Okay.
I would not the top. Not like above Unbreakable.
Towards the
Not
top.
crazy.
Okay, I
Towards
was
the
like,
top.
it's better than Unbreakable.
No. That's better. I would put it third, honestly. I'd put Unbreakable, Sixth Sense, and then The
Signs.
Village.
Yep.
Oh.
And then Signs after that.
Signs,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Signs is-
And then The Happening, my friend. I was like,
I love The Happening.
I love that The Sixth Sense is a good movie without the twist, and I think that's what is the problem with The Happening and some of his other films are they bank on the twist being good, whereas I think The Village, Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, they're good movies, and then there's a great twist.
Agreed.
And that's the thing. That's the formula is here's this amazing movie, and now you didn't see that coming, and that's what's the best part.
Well, Old is interesting because it's not a good movie with a great twist. So
yeah, it goes the other way.
it's so campy. It's so much fun to watch. Like, I had a great
the whole time I
with it.
was watching it, I was like, "What is this? Like, what is happening?"
Yeah. What's great about Unbreakable as a comic book movie, which it most definitely is, but it doesn't have a source material, right?
Yeah,
it's all about comic books, and it's all about superhero tropes, and it's all about comic book collecting, and how comic book collectors are the worst people on earth, and that's Unbreakable. Yeah,
I've seen enough of us. Yeah.
You go to enough cons, yeah.
Yep. It's like, oh, this has been great.
My pick for best non-superhero comic book movie is Old Boy, which is based on the Korean comic.
Yeah.
And that movie messed me up. And that is a movie that I don't love. Like, oh, it's Friday night, it's Saturday night, I'm going to pop on Old Boy.
Old Boy.
But it is an experience that I do revisit. I just have to have a few more of these old fashions before I do.
Get in the right frame of mind for it.
Nice.
And then if we're talking like comic strip adaptations, I love Dick Tracy. I love Dick Tracy.
Oh yeah,
I love that movie.
Yeah, Dick Tracy.
I love that movie.
Childhood nostalgia makes me go Dennis the Menace because I
Good.
really love the Dennis the Menace. I loved Richie Rich.
God,
Okay.
Richie Rich. I remember that movie.
But Dick Tracy's great too.
I also love The Phantom. Same era.
That's what when Nick was talking, I was like, oh, I need to remember to mention The Phantom because I saw that when it first came out, and I was young when that came out.
Was Rocketeer?
And I had
Rocketeer.
I had the Phantom ring. And I was like, I hope I get to punch somebody someday to be able to leave the imprint.
But The Rocketeer is in probably my top 5 comic book movies as well.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece.
I remember renting that from the grocery store to watch it. Same with like Dick Tracy. And loving it. Yeah.
How does everyone feel about the Watchmen movie? It hasn't been brought up. And
I love it.
It's a big thing. I do too. Thank you.
I need to rewatch it. I remember seeing it in college and being like, okay, this is good. But I wasn't reading comics at the time, and I feel like coming back to it be a different
the director's
experience.
cut is the way to watch it.
I just
The director's cut.
I have a love-hate relationship with Zack Snyder.
That's fair. I really love
I love Zack Snyder's movies, but I hate his fan base so much. It's like,
that's part of it. I think
if the other people that also love these movies could just shut the fuck up for a little bit.
There's times where I'm just like, it's okay, dude. We don't need a slow-mo of every big thing you want us to see. Like, it's okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that's my only major complaint. And that, like, the Jesus complex of characters sometimes, it's like, Superman is Jesus. It's like, okay,
I like being a good Jesus complex.
Have you seen Zack Snyder's The Legends of Ga'Hoole, the animated owl movie?
Yes, I have.
No.
Love that film. The slow motion owl fighting.
It's so much.
Film
I can't get
next
past
level.
It. It's okay. Next level is one way to put it.
Next level good.
Like too many levels.
Yeah,
It's
all
next
the
level. You know, you're at a good level, and then you go to the next level, and it's too much.
And then you went to the next level,
And
and
then
it got
you went
even better.
Yeah, and you kept going, and you went, where are all the levels?
No.
What's
Legends
really
of
bad is
Ga'Hoole
when
right.
it influences other movies. So, like, we were watching Wonder Woman the other night, and all the times I had to go, a Zack Snyder slow-mo cut, because that was when they were having Zack Snyder influence everything. I was like, okay, we get it. All right.
He was the architect of the thing, and it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
But I love the director's cut Watchmen. I love the regular Watchmen. I watched it. I had it in theater. I have it on Blu-ray. I need to get it on 4K. I'm assuming it's coming out on 4K.
Have you
It's
watched
on 4K.
the Tales of the Black Freighter cut? Where they like
it's really cool.
That's self-indulgent and delicious.
Oh, it is, and because I love Watchmen, and I never recommend it to new. I love when it's on a new readers list. I'm like, you guys are dumb. That is a terrible choice. But I really love the Watchmen, and I think that he did a really good job. I think Zack Snyder is best when he tries to stick to a formula that is already established. Zack Snyder's really good at accentuating things. Like, I think 300 was great because, hey, Zach, tell this story. And Zach was like, okay. And it was good. When he goes off on his own is when I tend to have issues with Zack Snyder, and it doesn't jive with me as well.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like, I was so on Zack Snyder's tip till like Man of Steel. Like from Dawn of the Dead, like the fact that he made a Dawn of the Dead movie, which I thought was really, really great. And then he does 300 and he does Legends of Ga'Hoole, which is also awesome. And Watchmen I really liked.
Yeah,
and then
then
Man of Steel I didn't really like connect with Man of Steel. I had my buddy Darren loves Man of Steel. Just not on that.
Yeah.
But then
It needs hope.
Superman Returns is better.
I'm not going there, my friend.
The Richard Donner cut.
Brandon, yes.
Brandon
Routh is the best Superman we've had since Christopher Reeves.
I'll let you say that.
And that's why I like Returns more. Is just because you had the Superman, give him the script.
How do we feel about Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor then?
Fuck. Well, that ended up being real good because fuck that guy.
I don't even like Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor, but I love Superman.
Whoa!
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Where did you happen like that?
You know,
So there's been no good Luther.
It hasn't been.
No,
They're
you
not
had
great
Jesse
Luthers.
Eisenberg.
not
What are
if
you
you
talking
love
about?
the character of Luther or a certain version of Luther that you can
Don't
find
say
in the
it, Nick.
comics. You know, so
Okay.
Who's should be the Lex Luthor then? They got to bring him in.
No.
Who should be Lex Luthor?
Jesse Eisenberg again.
Oh,
But do it different.
but do it different.
More
He has
Jolly
hair
Ranchers.
again.
More Jolly Rancher.
More jolly. Yeah.
Yes.
The Jolly Rancher cut.
Yeah, the Jolly
I
Rancher
still
stuff.
think Bryan
Yes.
Cranston could knock that role out.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I still think I think there's still time that if they were to like make that decision tonight,
Mhm.
and then the movie came out in 2 to 3 years, it would be really good.
I really like Smallville's Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Michael
Rosenbaum.
Rosenbaum. He was great. I think he was really good Lex Luthor, and aging. I think he's like out of the business now. I think he's done with it.
I mean, he's like a buddy of James Gunn, so he pops up in like James Gunn's things.
Yeah, but like he's not all over
yeah.
the place. So
He's
I
getting
don't
that convention
see him-
money now.
Yeah, that's
That
what's
convention money where it's at.
up. But I think he was great, and that'd be a nice pull for a Lex
Okay.
Luthor.
The animated series Lex Luthor
Yes.
is the
Yes.
best Lex
That's the
Luthor.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The Harley Quinn one is also very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything in that Harley Quinn series is good.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
my favorite Lex Luthor in the animated. I think it was Justice League or maybe Justice League Unlimited when Flash and Lex switch spots, and Lex Luthor's like, "I'm gonna finally figure out who you are," and pulls back the mask, and he's like, "I don't know who you are."
Who is this? Was that Tom Taylor?
When I'm not doing great.
Was that Injustice?
No, that was just the animated. Just
I think
like
it's
Justice
Unlimited.
League.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the animated show, and it just was like my favorite thing. I'll go on YouTube and watch that clip just to perk myself up when I'm feeling like I need something to laugh about. Makes me so happy. Well, thanks everybody. I have one last. Oh yeah, go for
I had
it.
a question I was going to ask. Who's your favorite? Because I asked this on Twitter and didn't get much response. But who's your favorite comic book director? Like not the best director that's done a comic book movie, but your favorite director doing comic book movies.
James Gunn.
Matt
James
Reeves.
Done.
Since James Gunn was taken, I said Matt Reeves.
Nice.
Like I feel like the person who absorbs the most from comics and then tries to replicate them in some way in their movies is Guillermo del Toro. And he's done Blade 2, which and Hellboy.
I wasn't
So
thinking about Del Toro.
So-
Oh, no.
Like when you watch Blade 2,
He knows you don't like him now.
the commentary track of Blade 2, he pinpoints like panels from comics that he tries to replicate, like Dr. Manhattan being reformed from like the Dave Gibbons art is what he took as inspiration for the Reapers exploding in ultraviolet light.
That's
So
cool.
Okay.
I feel like that's my answer.
Good choice. These are 3 good choices. Jamie?
Don't screw
I was
it
going to
up,
say Gunn. I was going to say James Gunn.
Yeah.
I had,
Hey, we
I, had a,
win.
I had a couple friends say Sam Raimi, and I was just like,
Oh.
okay.
All right.
Okay.
Sam Raimi's so Sam Raimi.
Yeah, it's very Raimi.
Yeah.
Oh man, Guillermo. I have. I don't know if you've seen them, but I have the Guillermo del Toro tarot cards.
Yes.
Del Toro tarot cards are like
They're right
my
over there.
favorite. They're amazing because I DM a lot, so I'll use them for in my D&D games. I'll use those as my tarot cards. I love them. Del Toro is a great choice, but Gunn is the best. Thank you, Jamie. My final question is: we've talked about favorites and least favorites, and film and not film, and all of these things, but I think one of the amazing things about movies is, Nick, when you talked about how everybody left Batman being quiet, and Brad, when you were like, everyone went on the bus and you all experienced that. It was all super amazing things, that all these little things tied up into one ball becomes this amazing experience that will last every time you watch that movie from then on. Maybe we've already answered your two, but what's the comic movie that made you feel the most, that really got inside you, and it didn't matter what other people thought, it didn't matter, but even if it's negative, but what's the movie that really just like sank its teeth in and wouldn't let go?
That's a damn.
I think one of my most emotional movies, I don't know if it's odd or not, but would actually be Ant-Man, and the father-daughter dynamic and stuff, being a dad and just like watching him care about his daughter and stuff is just like so. Yeah,
that's mine, because I only have I only have my daughter half the time, and every time I watch Ant-Man and in the subsequent one, he's doing like his best to make the little time that he has amazing, and have forced to be away from when Ant-Man comes back after the snap and lost all that time when he saw his daughter grown up. It's how I feel, because like she's gone for a week, but she'll learn something when she's gone for that week, or she'll experience something, and I'll see these little bits of growth that I wasn't there for. And it like is turned to 11, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man, Endgame, all those are Infinity, whatever, the last one, always hits me so fucking hard, because it just gets right in here and makes me go, and I just feel it.
Yeah, my second one would be closely tied to the same thing, and would also be MCU of the "I Love You 3000" line.
Yeah,
would be the other one. That one got me good.
That
too.
gets you.
every time that one will get me.
Yeah. The first time I cried during an MCU movie, was Avengers in 2012. And it's when Bruce Banner shows up on the moped and he does the whole like, that's my secret, Cap, I'm always angry. And it was such a beautiful distillation of Bruce Banner and the Hulk and their relationship, and how Banner understands. No one else understands really what's going on in Banner. Like I once said, like, the real civil war in the MCU is Bruce Banner and the Hulk. And I would like that explored more. So that's like the first time I cried. But I think the movie that did all the things the most, like from the moment the logo came up to the credits, I was at 10 of every emotion, depending on what the scene is, whether that's excitement or sadness or melancholy or whatever, was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And that logo comes up and it's changing with the multiverse and the logo. And the movie goes on and it's replicating panels and how you read panels, and it's using captions and thought balloons and 4-color printing, and then it's doing all these crazy animation tricks with frame rate. Like
the undertaking that it took to make that movie is
it's the most movie.
That whole movie is just hits you in everything, especially like when the uncle dies. It's just like, oh god, hits you hard.
And it hits,
when the Spider-Man of Miles's existence dies, Chris Pine, like I was already so invested in that character because of the tricks that they were using, that when he died, and then when Miles goes to his funeral and listens to Mary Jane, and Stan Lee shows up to be Stan Lee and make a buck off of a dead Spider-Man, like, this is the best.
When he goes to the grave before he meets Peter B, and he's just like, I can't do this. Like, that was
Yeah.
yeah.
I need to
Um,
watch it again. Like,
I think I might watch it tomorrow.
yeah, I'm watching it tomorrow.
For me, it's the scene that the first time I cried at an MCU movie, and it will still make me cry, is Yondu, the Yondu death. And so like a lot of times I will defend the villain of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because I hear a lot of people being like, "Oh, it's a mustache twirly, like basic. I just want to take over the universe because I'm evil, and that's all I really need to know." For me, growing up with a dad who, a little bit personal, it was always like he loved me, but no more than he loved himself, and would only ever hang out with me and spend time with me if it served his own agenda or his own gains. And to see that portrayed in a MCU movie where Peter's dad shows up and Peter has this moment of like, my dad, we're back together. I can have this relationship again. This is something I can have now. And then for it to be torn away, and then for him to realize, like, you could just say the line, he was your dad, he was your father, but he never was your daddy. And I just like start weeping. And like just that whole, like, I still like, we play that for my daughter a lot. We play the movie for my daughter a lot because she loves Groot. And like, so I'll be like, I'll just have it on for her when that scene comes up. I'm just like, Mommy needs to go to the other room right now, hon. Just watch the movie.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back, and then I'll come back, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No." And like, yeah. So I think that was the first one that the MCU like absolutely got me, and it was such fucking bullshit because that's a fun movie, and then at the end it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you heard James Gunn translate Groot's last words before he fades away in Avengers Infinity War?
Yeah, it's like Dad
Yeah.
did, like, yeah.
I remember reading
Yeah.
that tweet. I'm like in a Starbucks somewhere, and I just start bawling.
God damn it. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for being both honest and vulnerable. It really shows how across the spectrum these movies really are, and there's fun to be had, there's serious feelings to be had, and no matter who you are or what you like, it's just good times. And it doesn't really matter because when it comes down to it, life is short. Do what you love, enjoy what you love, and if someone tells you that you shouldn't love it, they can go fuck themselves. Because what you love is awesome. Doesn't matter what you love, unless you're terrible. There will be an asterisk next to this. But in terms of geekdoms, it's all good. Yeah. Thank you everybody for being on, especially Brad Gullickson, Comic Book Couples Counseling. Tell them where they can find you, and then they can go to the description and click on the link.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. This was an absolute treat. I had a great time chatting with all of you, and I respect this show. I respect all of your opinions so much, and you get me excited to go watch some comic book movies. So thank you for that. But if you want to, if you're like, I need more of this guy, I need more rambling of him, head on over to Comic Book Couples Counseling. But don't worry, it's not just me screaming into a microphone. I co-host that show with my lovely wife, Lisa. And what we do there is we take a superhero couple, sometimes iconic, sometimes not so iconic. And not a superhero couple. No. A comic book couple. All the genres of couples. And we paired them with a self-help book, and we used that discussion to help better understand the characters, but more importantly, to help better understand ourselves. We also do various interviews. We're building up to Comic-Con next weekend, and we leave on Tuesday, and we've lined up like a whole ton of interviews with cool people. We've got Matt Kint coming on the show to talk about mind management. We've got Scott Snyder coming on to talk about his latest batch of Comixology originals. We have Tom King and Elsa Chartier coming on to talk about Love Everlasting. And we have some really wild things that are going to happen at San Diego Comic-Con that I can't talk about yet. And they probably won't happen because that's how life is sometimes. But I'm hoping. Anyway, comicbookcouplescounseling.com, at CBCC Podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
Amazing. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
This has been...
Thank you, Todd.
Yeah. Make sure to check those links in the description. Go like and follow and do the things in the social media space that shows comic book couple counseling that they're awesome. You can't quickly say that because
you got to do it every week.
If you do it every week, then you can do it. That means Brad's going to be on every week. But yeah, go do that. And yeah, make sure to just be nice to everybody.
Yeah.
That's all.
ForEveryOneMedia.com.
Yeah, that. ForEveryOneMedia.com. And you can like and follow us. We're in the description too. Go do those things. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.